How to knit the simple vertical stripes stitch. English style, left-handed. To download written instructions for this stitch pattern, visit newstitchaday.com/K528. For this tutorial, you'll need the following materials: a pair of knitting needles, and a ball of yarn. Special thanks to our sponsor Lion Brand for providing today's yarn. Today we are using their Lion's Pride Woolspun, available exclusively at Michaels and lionbrand.com in the colors Oxford Grey and Rust. For this stitch you'll need to know the following techniques: knit, purl, slip with yarn in front, slip with yarn in back. To begin this stitch, we're going to be working with two colors, and we need to cast on in sort of an interesting way. So I'm going to take one of these colors and we're going to cast on one stitch. So you can just make your slip knot and place that on your needle. And then we're going to do the same thing with our second color, or our color B. So I'll make another slip knot and we will place that on our needle. And for this I'm going to use the long tail cast on, but you really could use almost any cast on that is comfortable for you, but I would probably recommend this. Is going to make working with these colors together a little bit easier. So I'm going to cast on another stitch in our color B, then we're going to cast on two stitches in color A. So I'm just going to bring this yarn to the side and we're going to work this like we normally would a long tail stitch. And if you're not familiar with the long tail cast on, well, we have a video on newstitchaday.com that you can use to help teach it to you. So I'm going to do two stitches in color A and then we'll flip back two stitches in color B. And I'm actually going to always keep our working yarn on the right side of the work, or facing us, and that's going to create sort of like a little cool braided edge along the bottom. So two stitches in one color and then two in the next. Just be careful not to get things too tangled up when you're casting on. Just pull out that extra yarn there, and then we'll bring this yarn around to the front. Okay. And you'll continue doing this until you've reached the length that you want. What we're going to do then is you'll want to end with your color B, and then you'll do one more stitch in your color A. Row 1. Beginning on the right side of our work and starting with color A, we are going to knit 1, then we're going to start our repeat by slipping the next two stitches with yarn in back. So we're going to keep this working yarn behind our work, and then we're going to knit 2. Alright, so again, we'll slip the next two stitches, the repeat, slip 2 with yarn in back, and then knit 2. And we'll repeat that all the way across until we reach the last 3 stitches in our row. Now, when we reach the last 3 stitches in our row, we're going to slip 2 with the yarn in back, and then we will knit 1. And then we can turn our work. Row 2. We're going to continue with color A, and we're going to knit 1. Then we're going to start our repeat by bringing the yarn to the front, and then we'll slip the next 2 stitches purlwise. So this is a slip 2 with yarn in front is what we're doing right now. Then we're going to purl 2. Alright, so we'll do that again. This is our repeat. We're slipping 2 with yarn in front, and then we'll purl 2. So continue repeating these 4 stitches until we reach the last 3 stitches in our row. And when we reach the last 3 stitches in our row, we will slip the next 2 stitches with yarn in front, and then we are going to finish up the row by knitting 1. Then we can turn our work. Row 3, we're going to switch to our color B, and we are going to start our row by knitting 1. Then we are going to knit 2. Then we will slip the next 2 stitches with yarn in back. And that will finish our repeat. So again, we'll knit 2. Then we keep the yarn in back and slip the next 2 stitches. So repeat these 4 stitches all the way across until we reach the last 3 stitches in our row. And when we reach the last 3 stitches in our row, we are going to knit 3. Okay, then we can turn our work. Row 4. Continuing with color B, we are going to begin by knitting 1. Then we're going to purl 2, and this will begin our repeat. And we will finish up our repeat by keeping the yarn in front, and we will slip the next 2 stitches purlwise. So let's do that one more time. Our repeat starts with purl 2. Then we're going to slip 2 with the yarn in front. And we'll repeat this sequence all the way across until we reach the last 3 stitches in our row. And once we reach the last 3 stitches in our row, we're going to purl 2, and we'll finish up with a knit 1. Okay, so we're going to alternate with colors A and B on each of those 4 rows until we've reached our desired length. And that's how you knit the simple vertical stripe stitch. Now before we end, I want to show you how to bind this stitch off, since it's kind of a unique way of being constructed. So you're going to end using your color A for your row. So we're gonna knit this first stitch. Okay, we'll just pull that down. Then we're going to switch to our color B, and then we'll knit the next stitch. And then we'll bind off like normal. So we're going to slip this stitch over the top of the other stitch. Then we'll knit with the color, right, that we need, and then we'll bind off the stitch like normal. So now I'm going to switch back to color A and knit this stitch. And then we'll pass this stitch over the other one. And we'll just continue doing this all the way across. Okay, swapping and knitting the color with the color that is next. So I'll do a few more here, and then we can take a look and see how that fabric looks. Alright, so I've done a few bind off stitches here, and then we can see the fabric is a lot more in line color wise along the top. So it's not perfectly lined up because we're moving a stitch over a little bit, but it's going to look a lot more like your cast on row than just using a regular bind off with one color all the way across. So that's how we bind off this stitch. So that's how we bind off the simple vertical stripe stitch. After a few repeats, your pattern should look like this.
Hey, I'm Johnny Vasquez, founder of New Stitch A Day and your teacher for this tutorial. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to learn from us. If you'd like to see more videos just like this, we produce new content every single day, hence New Stitch A Day. You can click the subscribe button so that you don't miss a single stitch. And if you click one of the links to the side here, you can see the previous stitch in our series or the next stitch in our series. And if you click this link, you'll be able to see one of my favorites. And don't forget, you can also download a PDF with the written instructions for this tutorial by clicking or using the URL link that's on the screen. Again, I want to thank you so much for learning with us, and I hope that we've helped make your knitting and crochet skills a little bit better today. Yarn on!